everyone, and welcome to another Into the Void Real Review. This time we're reviewing the Ryan Coogler-directed Sinners, starring Michael B. Jordan and a new up-and-coming actor, Miles Catton. This was a movie I was looking forward to from when I first saw the trailer earlier in the year. It reminded me of the movie Dusk Till Dawn. Remember that movie? That movie always reminded me of the kind of film that switched genres midway through, subverting your expectations entirely, making for a unique movie-going experience. I always respected that film for that, and now I have another film I can respect as well, and that movie is Sinners. A multifaceted horror blending music, vampires, and also racism into an intoxicating concoction that has shot up to one of the best movies of this year thus far. I'm giving you a spoiler tag here just in case, depending on how much you really want to know ahead of time about this movie. Momentary pause. Okay, let's go. The way Coogler explores certain aspects of the vampire lore is fascinating and brings new energy into a subject that has flooded our consciousness for some time now through movies, books, and even video games. Look at Castlevania, Nosferatu, and even the countless books you can find about the bloodsuckers that come out at night to suck our blood and turn us into one of their own. The movie is all set up in the beginning, wisely getting us invested in characters that we will care about when the actual horror hits the fan. Front and center are the Smokestack twins, who are fresh out of Chicago to enter into a new venture dealing with moonshine music and all kinds of debauchery. You see, Smoke and Stack, the twin brothers, played both by Michael B. Jordan with a confidence that mimics Denzel Washington-like confidence, are two sides of the same coin who operate a little differently from each other. One is free-willing and the other is a little more methodical and careful. For me, Michael B. Jordan is the younger Denzel that has recently taken up the mantle as actors you know will always put out quality work.
Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
And Michael B. Jordan does just that here, sharing screen time with himself from the get-go when the brothers buy an old sawmill that they plan to turn into a juke joint, recruiting old and young musicians along the way to play for opening night. This is where Miles Catton comes in as the blues-playing cousin, Sammy Moore, of the Smokestack twins, who has a dream of playing his guitar and nothing else, which goes against his preacher father's wish for him to take over his church to speak the Lord's gospel. I heard before watching this movie that this is Miles' first acting gig, and that does make his performance here all the more impressive.
Somebody take me in your eyes.
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
This is definitely Sammy Moore's story in the end, even if you follow Smoke and Stack along their journey to make a new life for themselves, only to run into an evil that's not only involves vampires, but the Ku Klux Klan. Talk about bad day. Racism operates on several levels here amid a horror framework that holds everything together. Make no mistake, there are several layers to Sinners that make it more than your average vampire flick. For one, music seems to be the universal theme that binds the immortal beings and the mortal ones together. Turns out the vampires have a very real need for the supernaturalness of Moore's mesmerizing take on the blues. Once the setup is complete and the party literally gets started after the juke joint's opening night gets underway, things go off the rails in a good way. There are several captivating scenes that involve the typical vampire lore we all know and love, but one that seems to take center stage is the one that one must invite the evil into their juke joint for them to do any real harm. There is one funny scene in which the vampires try to audition their way into the club with promises of spending money at their little party.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party.
Characters like one named Cornbread inject some much-needed levity when he munches on one unlucky guest who is mistaken for getting bitten and then unceremoniously thrown out like a sack of potatoes to end up being vampire bait. Indeed, he ends up being the cornbread for cornbread to feast upon. Like I said, there are many layers to Sinners that make it work. It has really funny moments that keep Sinners from being a Debbie Downer.
Yo, smell anything? I think I shot myself.
You will laugh. You may even cry for some of these people that may or may not lose their life. I won't get into full on spoilers because there are some twists that happen where you think something happened to one character, but it turns out that wasn't really the case. There is a mandatory middle ending credit scene that you must watch with an ending credit scene that is not as mandatory to watch. Just make sure you watch the mid credit ending scene for sure though. Marvel, this is how you do a mid credit ending scene. Take notes. Going back to it, I think Sinners really hits one of its high points after everything crescendos during a musical interlude that intercuts with the inherited dread that things are about to turn for the worse for our juke joiners who are taking part in all kinds of debauchery I referred to earlier. Sex is a great gateway drug for vampires to infiltrate and recruit people to their side, and Sinners doesn't disappoint here.
Careful, boy. You're gonna bite off more than you can chew.
This movie is also bloody, but it's creepier when it does subtle things like when a vampire floats into the sky like some evil Tinkerbell out to sink its teeth into the neck of an unsuspecting victim. There's also confidence that permeates in Coogler's direction. After all, there are things that happen in this film that might not have worked in a less skilled hand. One example is when the vampires, while waiting out their potential victims in a standoff outside, take part in a river dance musical session that actually works and doesn't come off as corny. Coogler really wants the vampires and humans to go to war not only psychologically, physically, but musically as well, which is something that can be said for most horror movies like this. The music really is stellar, which is something you just don't typically say when you go to see a horror movie. Blues is really shown as the gateway to all forms of music that evolve through time. There is a jaw dropper of a scene that explores this very idea. You notice I talk about many scenes in this movie because there really are a lot of good ones here. There's really so much to like about this film that works on so many levels. The different themes, the subverting expectations, the great performances all around, the blurring of genres that actually work and don't clash. The ending, it may make you wonder if you were ever watching a horror movie in the first place. And I'm not talking about the clan killing scene at the end, but that does qualify as well with that thought. There are about 3 endings to this movie, and honestly, they all work. You really need to go see the movie to experience for yourself. Like I said, Sinners is one of the best movies of the year so far. Don't miss out. I'm giving Sinners a 9 out of 10. What were your feelings on Sinners? Does it make your best vampire movies list of all time? What are your favorite vampire movies? Like and subscribe if you want more of this content, and I will see you the next time when we venture into the void.